Hey everyone! I am here today with a massive, massive book haul because I haven't done one for basically from March until now. And I've accumulated a large number of books in that time period, of course. So I am not really going to go into depth about most of the books. I'm just going to show you them title, author, and try to get through this in a reasonable amount of time. Most of these I've purchased myself from Book Outlet, but there are a few that were gifts as well. Alright, so let's just dive right in. The Last Best Kiss by Claire Lazebnik. This is a YA modern retelling of Persuasion. And I've read a couple of the others in this sort of companion series she has going on. The House at Tyneford by Natasha Solomons. I don't remember much about what this one is about. Looks like it is set in 1938 in Vienna and is about a young Jewish woman who becomes a parlor maid in England. Devoted by Jennifer Mathieu. This is about a cult. The Forbidden Wish by Jessica Khoury. This is a book about genies. Haven't read any books about genies in a while, so I should pick that one up. Fixing Delilah by Sarah Auchler. This is a contemporary YA. The Last Magician by Lisa Maxwell. This is a YA fantasy, I believe. Something to do with time travel or time manipulation, something like that. Nantucket Summer by Layla Howland. This is a like 2 books in one bind up of Nantucket Blue and Nantucket Red. Looks like it would be a nice summer read. I did not get to it this summer, but we'll see when. Maybe next summer. The Fifth Letter by Nicola Moriarty. I haven't read anything yet by Nicola Moriarty, so I was excited to be able to purchase this on Book Outlet. And yeah, looking forward to checking it out. Roar by Cora Carmack. This is kind of like an elemental fantasy. And I've read it already, and I was kind of like, about it. It was okay, but not blow me away. The Tea Rose by Jennifer Donnelly. This is a book, historical adult, set in 1888, and it basically chronicles Fiona Finnegan's journey from England to the United States and how she starts up a life for herself and a business for herself there. And I've read it already. It was actually really, really good. I mean, it is quite lengthy. So, you got to be ready for a thick book, but it was very immersive, and I am interested in picking up the next book in the series. The House of Tides by Hannah Richell, or Rochelle, I'm not sure. I don't know too much about this one. I have read one other book by Hannah Richell, which I felt kind of mixed about. We'll see if I enjoy this one any better. Child of the River by Irma Joubert. I believe this is set in South Africa and is a historical novel. The Beguiled by Thomas Cullinan. I've read this one already. I wanted to read it before I watched the film, and I haven't yet watched the film, but I wasn't really that impressed with the writing here. I thought, it was really slow for the first 3/4, and it only picked up in the last chunk, and it wasn't that creepy until that last bit. Yeah, I kept thinking to myself through most of it, like, this would be so much better as a movie, but it really didn't do much for me as a book. So we'll see if it is better as a movie. Mistress of Rome by Kate Quinn. Earlier this year I read The Alice Network, and I thought it was a great read and very well written, and so I really want to dive into this one and read more of her books. Unspeakable by Caroline Pignat. This is a story of a disaster at sea, basically historical YA. Unraveling by Elizabeth Norris. And I think this is some sort of sci-fi-ish YA. The Sacred Lies of Minnow Bly by Stephanie Oakes. I've heard a lot of good things about this one. I think this is another one about a cult or something like that. Paper and Fire by Rachel Caine. This is the sequel to Ink and Bone, the first in her Great Library series, and really looking forward to reading this one because I loved Ink and Bone. I have to say, I think it is one of the top books of my reading year this year. I like the characters. I liked the world building. The plot moved. The momentum was there. It kept moving at a pretty good pace. Really just loved it and looking forward to this one. The Skylighter by Becky Wallace. This is another sequel to The Story Spinner, which I've read already, and I liked it at the time. I really don't remember much about it now. It wasn't one of those books that really cements itself in my brain, but maybe this one will be another quick read like the first one was. The White Rose by Amy Ewing. This is the sequel to The Jewel, and I've read both of these now. I have to say, this is one of those sort of like take it or leave it series for me. Like, it's okay, but I'm not thrilled with the characters. I'm not feeling a ton for them. And there's nothing particularly exciting about the world building. But, it's not a bad series either. It's just sort of okay. Dirty Little Secret by Jennifer Eccles. This is contemporary YA about a girl who I believe plays the fiddle. Royal Wedding by Meg Cabot. This is an adult novel, I think, that's a continuation of her Princess Diaries series where, they get married. No Place to Fall by J. Robin Brown. And I don't know too much about this one. Something about, it's a contemporary YA, basically. Something about this girl who wants to sing. Her dream is to sing or something like that. Roses and Rot by Kate Howard. I believe this is a kind of fairy tale retelling in modern day. The Fever by Megan Abbott. I've had this one on my Goodreads to be read for a long, long time, and I know it gets really mixed reviews, but it's something to do with an epidemic of seizures and hysteria, some unexplained disease or something like that that's spreading to a bunch of the girls, I think. Sounds gripping. The Poison Diaries by Mary Rose Wood. This was a really interesting but weird read for me. I might continue with the series if I, get it from the library or can pick it up really cheap on Book Outlet. But it was very, very strange. Sisters of Heart and Snow by Margaret Dillaway. I think this is an adult contemporary about two sisters, and their mom is diagnosed with dementia, and they have to deal with that, I guess. Rilla of Ingleside by L.M. Montgomery. Haven't read it yet, but I do love this style of cover. Be True to Me by Adele Griffin. This one, I think, is set in the 70s or something, maybe? I feel like this one might be set in the more recent past, maybe, and it's sort of some sort of summer read. But I think, as with most Adele Griffin books, I suspect there is a bit of a mystery and darker side to it. The Only Thing Worse Than Me Is You by Lily Anderson. I've read this one already. I quite enjoyed it. It is a modern YA retelling of Much Ado About Nothing, which is my favorite Shakespeare play. And it was kind of like a warm, fuzzy, cutesy sort of read. The main characters really are nasty to each other at the start, like worse than Beatrice and Benedict are in the original. And the whole, there were some issues I had with how they adapted the original to a modern day setting, but I did like it all the same. Rose in Bloom by Louisa May Alcott. I think I've read Eight Cousins, the first in the series. I read it a long, long time ago, and I had it in my collection at one point, I think. And this is the sequel to that when Rose is more grown up and starting to go through, a coming of age. Scythe by Neal Shusterman. I don't believe I've actually read any of Neal Shusterman's novels, and I know I probably should read the Unwinded or whatever series that is of his that's so well known. But I got this one on Book Outlet for a decent price, and I know this is one of his his most recent series, so I'm interested to check it out. Anne of Green Gables by L.M. Montgomery. I loved this cover, and the current copy that I had was just a library discard that was not in great shape, so now I have a beautiful cover of this one. Cruel Beautiful World by Caroline Leavitt. I think this one, yeah, it's set in 1969, and it sounds kind of creepy about this older man who, is trying to get this 16-year-old Lucy to run away with him. It sounds creepy. Dating You, Hating You by Christina Lauren. I think I saw this one suggested as sort of a read-alike for The Hating Game by Sally Thorne, which I really enjoyed, so I'm hoping this one gives me a similar vibe. Imposters by Scott Westerfeld. I went to a Scott Westerfeld signing recently, actually, so he signed a bunch of my books, including this one. So that was very cool to finally meet him in person. The Bear and the Nightingale by Catherine Arden. This was a gift for me. I don't remember if it was for my birthday or the previous Christmas, but I don't think I've shown it in a haul before. So I know it's gotten a lot, like, glowing reviews. I think it's a Russian fairy tale retelling, and I really just need to pick it up already because it's been sitting on my shelves for a while now. And this was definitely a gift for my birthday, and this is The Real Jane Austen, A Life in Small Things by Paula Byrne. And basically it's a biography of the details of Austen's life. And I love Austen, so it'll be interesting to see if this has some information about her that I don't know already. And another birthday gift. This one is Dania, A Woman of Ancient Galilee by Anne McGivern. And you can kind of see why I wanted it. It's my name right there, spelled the same way I spell it, and it's a pretty unusual name, so I thought it was kind of funny that there was a book that was actually titled with my name. I think it's written actually by a speech-language pathologist, which is what I am, so that is doubly cool. And this one is yet another birthday gift, The Woman Who Heard Color by Kelly Jones, and it's about a woman who is an art detective who is trying to retrieve invaluable works that were stolen by the Nazis during World War II. And I think there must be a character in here who is the woman who heard color, so there's some synesthesia going on as well. Carry On by Rainbow Rowell, another birthday gift. And this one, I've read most of the Rainbow Rowell books I've enjoyed. I've read Attachments, I read Fangirl, and I really liked both of those. And then I read Eleanor and Park, and honestly, I didn't like it that much. I just found like it was so depressing. And really, yeah, it was a big downer for me. So I think this one looks like it'll be a whole lot lighter. And since I've read Fangirl, kind of makes sense. I'll read this one and see what I think. And I think this is the last of the birthday gift ones. And this one is Black Rabbit Hall by Eve Chase. And it's a historical mystery, kind of gothic-y, I think, which is right up my alley. Dreaming Death by J. Kathleen Chaney. This is I feel like it's a YA maybe, but it's definitely a fantasy. It's either adult or YA. And it features someone who's a sensitive, and so they can feel things that others can't, but there's a price, and that is that she is blind, and she works for the army. The Accident Season by Moira Fowley Doyle. Oh, I don't know if I said that right. Sorry. This one I think is like a magical realism YA novel, and I'm quite hit or miss about magical realism. We'll see if this is a hit or a miss. In Falling Snow by Mary Rose McColl. This is another historical adult novel about World War I. And then I went to the UK this past summer, and I picked up a couple books there. I did not have room for very many in my suitcase, but I picked up Frenchman's Creek by Daphne du Maurier, and I picked this up actually nearby the area of Frenchman's Creek in Cornwall. So that was kind of cool. I didn't actually manage to get to go to Frenchman's Creek, but I got close. And I haven't read this one by her yet. So I want to read some more Du Maurier. I actually probably should reread Rebecca because it's been a long time. I picked up a copy of Pride and Prejudice that is illustrated, and I picked it up in Bath, which I loved. There's definitely, you can see the like Austen influences there, and like there's a plaque on one of the houses that says "Here lived Jane Austen" or whatever. It was fantastic. I wish I could have spent more time in Bath because it was just a day trip, but it was amazing. And this was one of the things I picked up, and the illustrations are just so charming and like old-fashioned, you know. So, and they're throughout. So I love having an illustrated copy. It's fabulous. I think this is the last one, and that is The Clockmaker's Daughter by Kate Morton. I got this just recently. I love Kate Morton. She's one of my favorite authors. I'm always on the lookout for when is her next book going to come out, and this is it, and I'm excited to read it. She does a dual timeline, contemporary historical with sort of family secrets and all that kind of thing, and it's just, her writing is fabulous. And that is everything. So let me know what you think of all the many books I quickly went through in this video. Which ones did you love? Which ones disappointed you? I'm interested to hear. Bye!